Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The National Youth Committee marks the Omani Youth Day in the Governorate of Musandam. The Sultanate attracts $3.9 billion in the second issue for the International Sovereign Instrument. The Sultanate and Somalia discuss ways to transfer knowledge and expertise related to agriculture, livestock and fish industries. And the 5th edition of the Higher Education, Training and Career Expo starts at Oman Convention and Exhibition Centre. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey on the 95th anniversary of the Turkish Republic Declaration. His Majesty the Sultan also sent a similar cable to His Excellency President Dr. Nguyen Phu Tringo of Vietnam on the occasion of him being crowned and given constitutional oath as the new President of the Republic. The National Youth Committee marked the Omani Youth Day, which was declared by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos on the 26th of October. A ceremony was held on this occasion in the Wilaya of Qasab in the Governorate of Musandam. The ceremony includes a number of activities such as launching the electronic portal Shabab, which contains the latest information and statistics related to Omani youth. The celebration of the Omani Youth Day stresses on keenness of the government towards the youth category through various programs and initiatives. His Highness Sayyid Fahd bin Fatih Al Saeed presided over the opening ceremony. The Sultanate of Oman attracted $3.9 billion in the second issue for the International Sovereign Instruments of $1.5 billion. The Ministry of Finance stressed a statement that maturity period for the issue is 7 years with interest rate of 5.932%, and it will be increased in the Irish stock market. The release of the International Sovereign Instrument by the government comes after the successful release of the first issue for $6.5 billion. The first issue managed to attract subscriptions of $15 billion at the beginning of this year. The Central Bank of Oman released a statement in July that the Oman economy overcome the decline and witnessed a comprehensive recovery and growth in the current prices by 8.7% during year 2017. A report from BMA Unit for Credit Rating stated that the Sultanate of Oman will be witnessing an accelerated growth in the current and next years due to increase in power prices and the recovery of main economic sectors. Joint cooperation aspects between the Sultanate and Somalia in the agricultural and fisheries sectors top discussions of His Excellency Dr. Fuad bin Jafar Al Sajwani, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth, with His Excellency Hussein Mahmoud Sheikh Hussein, Minister of Livestock, Forestry and Rangeland of Somalia. The two sides also discussed means of developing joint work through exchanging expertise, studies and researches which aim to strengthen cooperation in food security and the opening new prospects for investment in agriculture fisheries sectors. A discussion session was held between the Sultanate and Somalia to transfer knowledge and expertise related to agriculture, livestock and fisheries wealth. The session affirmed on the importance of uplifting level of joint cooperation in the field of agriculture, livestock and fisheries wealth and means of improving it. It as well affirmed on the importance of opening new opportunities to strengthen cooperation between the two countries, along with exchanging experiences and viewpoints. A number of their Honourables, Excellencies, members of the Shura Council paid a visit to the site of commands of the joint exercise, a Safe Sarai 3, which is being conducted by the Sultan Armed Forces along with the rest of the military, security and civil bodies with the participation of the Royal British Armed Forces. Upon arrival, they were received by Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith Al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of Sultan Armed Forces, Major General Matar bin Salim Al-Balushi, Commander of the Royal Army of Oman, Air Vice Marshal Matar bin Ali Al-Obeidani, Commander of Royal Air Force of Oman, Rear Admiral Abdullah bin Khamis Al-Raisi, Commander of Royal Navy of Oman, and a number of British and Omani senior officers. Then they were briefed on the ongoing progress of the exercise, planning stages, main events, as well as the government sectors participating in the exercise, in addition to the national goals that are expected to be achieved by the end of the exercise. After that, they visited the information center and got acquainted with its sections, technical aspects, and means to cover all the events regarding the national exercise. The Ministry of Heritage and Culture organized a seminar on intangible cultural heritage in the Wilaya of Mana in the Governorate of Dakhliya. It focused on aspects related to documentation of intangible cultural heritage and recording it in UNESCO Heritage List. More details in the following report by Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi.
The elements of the intangible cultural heritage in the Sultanate are icons of the Omani civilization, which is deeply rooted in the history. Thus, this heritage has been passed down to generations and being preserved with great care.
We have many intangible heritage things that we already listed it in UNESCO, like Taghrud, Al-Azi, Al-Razfa, and the Arabic coffee, and Al-Bar'a, Al-Ayala, and Al-Majalis.
The Ministry of Heritage and Culture organized a specialized symposium in the Wilaya of Manah to emphasize on the importance of safeguarding and recording the intangible cultural heritage in the representative lists of the UNESCO.
I talk about the Omani inventory list, which is very important for listing the Omani intangible heritage in UNESCO list.
The seminar focused on the definition of the intangible cultural heritage, the Omani Khanjar as a symbol of Omani identity, Al-Arda of horses and camels, and on the Omani Majlis as a cultural and social space and its importance in the life of generations. From the Wilaya of Manah, Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi, Al-Dakhliya, Governorate.
Still to come in our news bulletin. Wilayas of the Governorate of Musandam witness rains with various intensity. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The leaders of Turkey, Russia, France and Germany have discussed the war in Syria at a summit, reiterating calls for the UN-backed political process to end the war that has killed hundreds of thousands of people. A final statement yesterday from the four leaders also calls for the convening of the committee by the end of the year to work on constitutional reform as a prelude to free and fair election in Syria. It also supports efforts to facilitate the safe and voluntary return of refugees to their Syrian homes. Speaking at a news conference in Istanbul, Putin stressed it was also crucial to liquidate all the radical elements that still remain in Syria who will continue their criminal activity, creating sleepier cells in their countries, recruiting supporters and preaching extremist ideology and terror.
Et ces sanctions ont vocation à se prendre au niveau européen.
NATO ships and soldiers were conducting exercises in the Norwegian Sea as part of Exercise Trident Juncture 2018. The training is part of NATO's biggest military maneuver since the Cold War, which began on Thursday in Norway. Exercise Trident Juncture 2018 brings together around 50,000 personnel, 10,000 vehicles, 65 ships and 250 aircrafts from 31 NATO allies and partner nations. The large-scale military exercise is said to have angered Moscow, despite Russia being briefed by NATO and invited to monitor the event. The exercise is set to continue through 7th November. Back to some more local news. The 5th edition of Higher Education Training and Career Expo Edu Track Oman opened today at Oman Convention and Exhibition Center with the participation of more than 110 local and international higher education institutions, a range of training institutes and higher education services. The 3-day exhibition is a bridge connecting local and international universities from around the world and students wishing to study. Local, regional and international higher education institutions meet under one roof, which will provide more choices for students and visitors wishing to enroll in accredited universities or those wishing to set up their academic studies. The exhibition was held under the auspices of His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah bin Nasser Al Bakri, Minister of Manpower. Amid wide attendance of visitors from inside and outside the Sultanate, the activities of Omani Dates Festival, with its 6th edition, continue at Ministries District in the Governorate of Muscat. The festival showcases small and medium-sized enterprises specialized in dates production field. The festival is exhibiting various types of palm dates in the Sultanate along with products of tissue culture palm trees. The event is considered a good marketing outlet to promote palm date products. A number of craftsmen also participated in the festival to display palm-pruned products. A workshop on energy efficiency was organized by Petroleum Development Oman PDO. It reviewed development of using energy means in oil and gas industries and construction sectors. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi has more details in the following report.
Energy efficiency policies, technologies and practices for the industrial and building sectors in the EU and in the GCC region are discussed at the 2-day executive workshop on energy efficiency.
The purpose is really to increase the cooperation between the EU and GCC, and this time especially with Oman. The EU is concentrating very much on committing to the Paris Agreement for the climate change, and this is very important. We have different projects and plans in the EU, and of course EU is not alone, but we are looking for regional cooperation.
The event, organized by Petroleum Development Oman PDO and the EU GCC Clean Energy Technology Network, gathered more than 180 experts representing policymakers, authorities, industry, building energy users, engineers and technology providers, as well as academicians and researchers.
The focus in Oman now around energy transition. So the workshop will focus on some demand supply, and to discuss a few policies around energy transition. Because, for example, a sector like oil and gas and a company like PDO, we have started this journey some time back now, and we are transitioning slowly but surely towards a complete energy company.
It is worth mentioning that the government is embarking on a clean energy transition pathway, which targets more sustainable, efficient, and cost-effective methods for using energy. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, Saleh bin Khalfan al-Rahbi, Muscat.
A delegation from the College of Health Sciences at the American University of Beirut made a field trip to Al Khawair Health Center to witness an example for primary health care system. The delegation was briefed on various health care types in the Sultanate and the strategy adopted by the Ministry for future planning and for the health system. After that, a lecture on social and political factor for health in the Arab world was delivered by the delegation in Royal Hospital. A number of wilayas of the Governorate of Musandam witnessed rains with various intensity, which led to some wadis and their tributaries to overflow. This was due to the Sultanate being affected by the low trough that started from last Friday and will continue until Tuesday. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Cloudy to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the northern governorate, with chances of rainfall accompanied by gusty wind and low hail. Low clouds and fog late at night and early morning are expected over the coast of the Arabian Sea. Winds will be southeasterly to south light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The National Youth Committee marks the Omani Youth Day in the Governorate of Musandam. The Sultanate attracts $3.9 billion in the second issue for the international sovereign instruments. The Sultanate and Somalia discuss ways to transfer knowledge and expertise related to agriculture, livestock and fisheries wealth. And the 5th edition of the Higher Education, Training and Career Expo starts at Oman Convention and Exhibition Center. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.